Hi, everybody. This is Joanna. Thank you so much for tuning in. What a gorgeous day. Yay, gorgeous day. Yeah, so excited, Pleiadians in the house. And of course, everyone else. Of course, everyone's always welcome. Welcome to our sacred tribe. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're so happy that you're here. We're so happy that you're connected with us. I can feel the energy. I'm so excited. We've been talking a lot about releasing everything that holds you back, all the parts of you that are fanciful and beautiful and sacred, and renewing all that you are within yourself so that you're not being thwarted back and forth by our ever-shifting reality and others around that are also going through their own insecurities and their own awakenings, and it's all perfect, it's all real, it's all how we find our own inner light, it's all how we find our own inner compass on what drives and what initiates us to our highest and our best self. And we don't know that until we go through the friction of change, till we go through the fiction that actually allows us to evolve. And that renewal of the whole self and coming back to the self, knowing that you are an epicenter of light, you're a multidimensional being from many planets, many galaxies, many timelines. In this moment, you're shifting timelines and you're shifting planets right now, and all that you choose to be, and allowing yourself to live from this heart space, this heart-centered experience of who you are. Infinite and pure and real with Source Creator. All moments are your journey that navigates emotion and vibration. Allowing your emotions to not overrun you, but allow them to flow in a beautiful and balanced way so that it's a beautiful expression of you, and not harming or creating imbalance to your environment or to others. And that's usually when emotions have been so suppressed that it's hard to understand, well, how do I express the best of me? How do I express the most passionate of me? How do I express the irritation that I feel? And that's about finding your own unique way that you can express your emotions. And that takes practice for each person to create their own daily self-care routine so that they're releasing what is hindering and holding them back and limiting. It could be beliefs, it could be institutions, it could be ways of doing things and rules and regulations that no longer serve. Again, it's all illusory. We can choose to be a part of it or not be a part of it. And sowing the seeds of limitless and infinite within, and being okay that nothing can hold you back. You are a bold and fearless being of who you are, and it just takes that choice of who you are to be that, and be okay with that. And that being okay is part of that beautiful, fanciful experience that I've been experiencing this week, and just being okay to feel into that uniqueness of who I am. And it's been a roller coaster ride, because it's been a huge set of energy releases in which I was looking at myself in, various ways. I'm just trying to get this card so I can show you. And this card, I've been looking at myself and what I was seated in my own desire with Source Creator, and how I wanted to come forward and express myself and be who I am fully and completely. And how many times I've held myself back based on the environments that we call ourselves within, the environments that we explore ourselves within, tend to put much limitation on us to be like others, to squash, creative gifts. And when we're not acting and behaving in the way that others do, we're then squashed for our creative expression, because it seems outside and norm of what systems and social programs we're brought up in. And I guess sometimes I've been, quite outspoken into the limitations of many dogma that dictate how we should behave and how we should act to be accepted and to be belonging. Of course, always keeping in alignment of, just treating people with the same kindness that you want to be treated in, but knowing that Source is in all things, and it doesn't require that you be and say certain things to have that oneness and ownership with Source as the creatorhood of who you are. But to allow that understanding of who you are as a divine soul, not only the personality of you, but all that you are as a Source essence, as that divine blessedness of who you are, to come forward and to be expressed in that way. And it's ever changing, it's ever evolving, and it's ever expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting. And to have that right moving in that navigational journey. Honoring all that you are, and as all of those densities are released, we allow ourselves to work out that shadow, work out why we feel the energies of the shadow energies that we do within our wholeness of light. Because on the other side of those shadows is that wholeness of light. Everything is a sacred geometric experience of who we are as a sphere of multidimensional love. and light and potentiation. But in that, there's called what we've explained as psyche imprints and wounds, which are the little dense pockets that are coded in our program, because the physicality is just an illusion. Although the physicality is how we've been created from the essence of spirit that we are. So if our spirit essence has been warped in any way, has been downgraded by the environment and others that we come within by our choosing, to come within certain environments and to take on certain belief patterns and programs, then it's in our awakening state that we get to choose to return to source and say, I'm ready to be my fullest self now and my best version of self. Who is that for me? Without any outside influences, who am I with source? Why am I here? Because each and every one of us come from unique, distant threads of connective source creator essence, which means that each and every one of us have DNA which is unique to us, to align with the thread of harmony and music that each and every one of us carry, to awaken that unique harmony of experience. For remember that all of creation is a harmonic song. And if we are suppressing any aspect of who we are as innate beings of light in any way, physically, mentally, emotionally, or etheric, or any other multidimensional way that we are awakening to, because remember, we are always growing and expanding beyond what we were a moment ago, if we so desire, then in that comes the awakening of all that we are as the multidimensional, sacred geometry of even greater harmonic songs, those pieces fitting together every time we release, and every time we release what no longer serves, we're allowing source to transmute those energies and programs and beliefs into those new streams of light harmony. Remember, it never goes anywhere. When we choose to release it through our own free will, through our own saying that belief doesn't serve me anymore, I'm choosing to transmute this into the Christ consciousness, into the field of the all that is love. Source then, source is the all, source within, source without. You as source is choosing the source without to transmute what you're choosing to let go. But again, everything is all energy. It's all you. It's the illusion that we are creating this beautiful, healthy body to say, I'm no longer wanting that. I'm going to let go of what I can, Christ consciousness within, Christ consciousness without, to release this aspect of what I no longer is allowing me to grow and expand within, what's not serving me as a belief now. It's all illusory. It's a program that gets reprogrammed as you allow that light to encode into that higher program. When you release, you call in that higher code, you call in that higher sense of being, because you've acknowledged it. You've been aware that I'm greater than I thought that I was, because that was given to me as someone else's belief. That's not mine. I took it on so that I could clear it for my parents, because they had that belief in their system. See what we're saying? Their systems are now cleared because you chose to take that belief that was theirs 6 generations ago. And you're saying, this belief has been with my lineage for 6 generations. I'm now releasing it because I'm a master. I'm here to create that. And in that, we get to become more of who we've always been. We've come here as beautiful light. We've come here as beautiful, encoded beings of love and joy and benevolence and greatness and whatever other words that define us. But again, it's beyond, because we're allowing ourselves to be all that we are as source. And it's really exciting. It's really joyful and happy. But what came up to me this morning that I wanted to talk about, we're going to do a Gaia called, we're going to do a daily Gaia energy read. And also, before we forget, I was just going to do that as soon as we came on. Every Saturday, we're having classes, a 1-hour class at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And it's going to be about those that want to connect with a very small group and have time to connect and ask questions with the teams and with the beings that I channel. And we look at many multidimensional things. We look at anything that is a block and how to transcend it and how to create new patterns of expansiveness. We say patterns, but they're not really. They're just the words that we have, because we're so steeped within programs and patterns that no longer serve us. So we want to entrain something that's a higher vibration of potentiation. But what came up this morning, and that class is at 11. So if you use the donation link below and send me a donation of $22 USD minimum, then you get a seat, and I'll send you the link for our class starts this Saturday. And we're getting this ready for the spring equinox, so that we do a light activation. We do channeled information and wisdom for those that are really keen on having a weekly program to assist in the realignment. We're going to do breath work and chakras, clearing and cleansing. We're going to talk about how to continue that beautiful daily self-care and open up into who you are as the gifted being that you are. And we're going to focus on healing the traumas that are a challenge to transcend, and what those blocks are, whether it's a mental block, an emotional block, a physical block, or an energetic block, because many of those contributions are all encompassed and thread together. And so I only offer usually these techniques in my webinar classes, in my global webinar classes. But because of the mass awakenings and every thing that's going on our planet, we're going to now offer it in a weekly class for those that want to join us. And they will be, you will get the recording of it so that you can go back and make notes and have it as a part of your daily self-care alignment, vibrational alignment. And remember that when you're listening to any of the light activations, that when you receive a light activation, it's different the next time that you listen to it because your body and your allness has changed. So just know that. And they're wanting me to say, to offer too, is that when we're in classes, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, but I'm just reiterating it because they're pointing it out to me, is that part of my practice and expanding into my gifts as well is to hone in on my medical intuitive gifts. So honing in on the field vibration, because as a Christ consciousness holder of light, the field that I represent activates with the field that you carry, and I'm able to, your permission to be in the class is my ability with the guides that are with us and the healing teams that are with us to pinpoint areas that need your permission to release any blocks and things like that. And just pinpoint areas that need your attention. And so we're going to start to add that to the Saturday class as well. So this Saturday is our first class. So sign up for it. And I'm going to create a separate short little video that will keep this weekly class going, because all that I am, I'm just passionate about teaching. I'm passionate about being the Christed healer that I am. And so those will be a weekly experience for those that so desire, that want to have that continued flow of alignment. Because right now it's all about vibrational alignment. Your vibration is what you create. And so really focusing on that daily self-care and how you vibrate and how it's important for you to create that self-care about self-love for you, and honoring your achievements and your accomplishments, becoming more familiar with your greatness and honoring the fact that you can create anything that you need. Part of my rediscovery this week was anything that we call in and that we've chosen to call in through our soul's agreement to transcend for the collective, for our lineage, for our families, for ourselves, has been much self-limiting codes. The self-limiting codes can sit within the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the energetic body. Plus anything that is a limitation within the collective that we take on as an imprint or a projection. And they work in many different ways, and it's a very complex set of design of energy that we're always moving within. But when you're centering within yourself and your pillar of light, and you're owning and honoring your epicenter, and you're being the commander of your multidimensional energies, then you resonate within your center of stability. And it doesn't matter what's being projected, what energy environment you're moving around, you have the ability to clear and cleanse, recenter, balance ground, and you're honoring and you're activating your creative genius so that you're always maintaining that male-female experience and becoming that expressive, creative, sacred child. And that's practice, that's mastery. Very few just walk in mastery. Mastery is constant practice and navigation through every moment for moment experience, because you get to choose every moment with source. Your choice creates your destiny. You have a vibrational potentiation of destiny, if you will, on the things you're excited to co-create with. And someone like myself that's been here thousands and thousands of times, my excitements are varied and they're all over the place. So it takes a lot for me to just focus on, call all of my energy in and focus on one or two things that I really, really want to co-create, because I do have so much that I could potentiate, and that my teams are constantly reining me in to maintain that focus, so that I'm constant in my, my idea scheme, because there's thousands of ideas. Thousands of ideas I could move on. And it's all within the divine plan. So when you're surrendering to your higher self, they're always aligning you with who you are as source for the highest and the best for all. And that's why the ego needs to sit back, because the ego can never potentiate what's higher self and source is. Because there's an infinite number of programs. There's an infinite number of things that you could, move within. But it's up to source, creator, and your divine guidance within, and why we should only be returning to all that we are within to make all of our life choices, because nothing outside of us knows our higher self, and our higher self is guiding us in all moments to be in our highest and best place, to have those highest opportunities that befall us. It's those manifestations that call in when your intentions and your clarity on who you are, and being blissful and fanciful and all of those divine sacred things that we come as and we want to create as. But what has come up is those self-limiting programs. And so I posed a question this morning, and I kind of got myself in a mind ball, and I'm going to say it a couple of times because it can be, you can honor the information in different ways, and it can be said much simpler, I'm sure. But those that have been on the path for quite a while can feel into the multidimensional vibrations of what I'm going to say about resistance, and about resistance being any block, whether it's held vibrationally, physically, mentally, or emotionally. And remember, those are all vibrations. So again, physical is an illusion. However, they do enter into the physicality if we do not clear it. Clear the chakras, clear those dense and negative and controlling thoughts that turn into illness and disease, which are all just densities coagulating together and starting to become a coagulated illness. I'm sure that's not the word, but it's the word that's coming out of my mouth, so whatever. Okay, so limiting beliefs, it's about our resistance of our perfection. Any resistance, whether it's a mental resistance, I can't do that. My mind is thinking that I can't go beyond learning algebra. That's a mental block, that's a mental limitation. And this is why we're holding those Saturday classes, so that you can understand your limitations and your blocks illusory, and get to the core of it, and then transcend it and be that light body and release that density, because we're multidimensional fields of beehives, if you will. And those beehives carry pockets of density through which those psyche wounds, which are only experiential from any timeline, because all is now, we're harmonizing from 3 to 5D, any of those psyche wounds that you've chosen at a soul blueprint contract to say, I'm going to clear 51% of my karma, and it's going to include these triggers. It's going to have a mental trigger, a physical, and it's going to be that multidimensional part of you that your soul can grow and expand on. Call in higher aspects, grow and expand and contract and expand. And what we do is energy. We're cells. Remember, we're cells, micro, macro, source. So as we clear out the illness, clear out the limitation and control and all the programs that we've worked within, we're calling in those higher vibrational programs, because the light can enter. When light enters, we speed up our acceleration. In how we're honoring that light, we're nourishing by that light, we're allowing all that we're becoming to become greater light. But it can't become greater light if we're resisting physically, mentally, emotionally, or etherically, energetically. And all our codes, if you will, are density packets or bruises or like this beautiful, explains it perfectly. The psyche wounds are like little packets of density. You see, it's just like a dense over this beautiful clear color. So a psyche wound would be held here because you had a trauma when you were a child. Another psyche wound here from another timeline that you would be triggered from this timeline here. And so those densities need to be cleared so that you can be this beautiful illumination of the color. The more clear you are about who you are, clarity, truth, honor, and wisdom within who you are. What is your truth? This is my truth and my color is clear. This is my truth, my color is clear. I know who I am. And I'm not going to be thwarted by other people's truths, because their truth is their truth, not mine. So you're allowing yourself to ever become clear. Clearing out other people's beliefs and densities and projections are not yours, and letting it go. But that's returning to self and doing your inner work to say, that's not mine. That doesn't belong to me. That doesn't feel like me. And then sorting it out with source. Why did I come with that? Where was that originated? And how did that trigger come to me? I want to understand this, because that's you. Your journey is sacred. It's a sacred journey of you, and why it can't be rushed. It can't be skipped ahead. It's about you owning the honoring of who you are as a beautiful vessel of light, and owning your path as, wow, man, did I make some mistakes. And this ladder was long and hard and arduous, but wow, I got my light back and I understand myself now. And the resistance that we have are those limitations that we chose to place within ourselves, whether it's through hearing it from others in our family that we were, cared for. And we look up to because they're our parents, and they guide us, and the society and the programs that we all fit within, schooling and all the other systems that we're brought up within. It's our planet, it's how we move about life, but it's now a part of our psyche. And we got to go back to our psyche and say, okay, well, seriously, that's what I want to carry with me. It was great for that time, but no, it's not who I am. I took it on and I thought, okay, well, maybe I'm supposed to. I don't know, everybody else seems to be taking stuff on. So we're not taught that we are divine and sovereign beings of holy light, and why we've said for so long that the greatest thing that we can do for our children in every moment is honor them and empower them and inspire them to return to center. They know who they are. Don't listen to anything outside of them. They know who they are. What do you feel? How do you feel? How are you activating your intelligence? Who are you as source? Know it, be it, live it, explore it, express it, experience it. You are all that is source. And nothing outside of you dictates who you are or how far you can go. No, you and source, you're infinite. Begin there. And so in doing so, we got to begin there. I'm infinite. But how do we resist that infiniteness? It's because we've had so many of those psyche wounds through either persecution or anything else that we've come with, early childhood. Now, it doesn't matter what we call it because it's all now, 3 to 5D right now. What's holding us back from being that brilliant little fanciful little child that says, hey, I'm perfect. I know I'm perfect. God's right with me and I know it, until you get ostracized or bullied or neglected or rejected or all of those things that damage the spirit, and the spirit just closes up. The spirit, again, is a physical spirit, mental spirit, emotional spirit, and psychological spirit, the psyche wound that carries those experiential packets of density that the brain and the body and because of the ego goes back to it to maintain its health and safety and wellness in its environment, if you will. Again, these are all words, but it's a multidimensional experience we want to release because we are now entering into the allness. So don't hold tight to old psychology experiences of what you were taught and told in a book, because we're now entering into allness, and it doesn't fit within the paradigms that we've explained in old psychology. It's still very valid and beautiful and true, and we honor it and we accept it and appreciate it as all and true. However, when we're talking about aspects of the allness of all that we are, do not hold steadfast to it because it limits you again. This is what we're stepping out of. The packets of wounding is the limitation that you so choose to take on, be it vibrational belief, perspective, or wording of how you call yourself, how you treat yourself, how you nourish yourself, how you value yourself. Who are you in the epicenter of light that you are? Are you honoring that in every moment? I have done so well. It's been really great that I acknowledge myself, and I've had such great accomplishments, and I'm allowing myself to know that I'm infinite. That's just a starting point. And nourishing that infiniteness, nourishing that you're just at the starting point of exclaiming and proclaiming who you are in this vast array of claiming greater health, claiming greater cellular health and care for yourself, greater intelligence in your mind where you can learn anything at any age. And your physicality is an infinite potentiation of your consciousness rearranging the physicality of who you are. The breath of source living through your body at any one moment, you can arrange your body in new ways. Do you know that? Do you practice that? Do you nourish that? Are you in care of that? Are you in ownership of that? Are you in ownership of the infinite that is your breath with source as source, within, without, above, below? Are you owning that? Are you honoring that? Are you nourishing that? Are you being that? And in that, you release the resistance. So what I said this morning, that again was mind-boggling, and why I've told you the intro and offered the intro before, I'm telling you what I'm telling you because perhaps it may make better sense if you go back and listen to it a few times. Because again, as we say things, there's a multidimensional perspective and story within what we say, because many people require it in a different way. Because I am able to feel things at a multidimensional level, I tend to say things in a way that I feel it at a multidimensional level. But it can be broken down into simpler terms, into how you just need it to release it. I'm saying it because there are varying people at a conduit level that also require it at a multidimensional way, so they can feel into it at that finer attunement of multidimensional expression. Does that make sense? It does to some of you, yes. And to those that it doesn't make sense, that's okay. Because there are conduits that listen to our offerings and require it to be felt at a different level than those that just need it to be honored in a more simple colorway. And there's no gradation on what we're saying. We're saying that some of you are complex conduits and hear it at varying levels of understanding, because sometimes those varying levels of understanding can be felt within the collective on how it is able to be perceived and healed at a collective level. Does that make sense? You, as the person that's coming to listen to this, as you, not having any concern about the collective and what's going on in the collective with collective energies or collective healing programs or collective anything, you would require it to be heard one way for you to suit you. But those that are conduits, those that work with grids, those that work with programs for the collective, require it at a multidimensional level and layering and coloring. through which their systems can call in the information through the codes that we are offering, to have it sit within their field, so that they're in their soft and gentle moments of perceiving, they can perceive something is beyond the words that are being said, so that their multidimensional bodies get that adjustment. So that's why we're saying it in the way that we're saying it, because Joanna's a conduit, and it's felt in a different way in how she says things sometimes. Sometimes it's just a simple one statement, and sometimes it's a further explanation of what is going on with the collective, so that your multidimensional bodies can go, get it, done, click. That's how you know. That's how you know you got it. It's an alchemic click. Because sometimes these limitations, thank you, sometimes these limitations are held within your multidimensional bodies. Thank you. When you're in a crib without any voice and you're hearing the words that's being spoken around your room, and the blessedness, thank you, I love you, the blessedness and the things that are being honored within all that is life in all moments, whether you're passing in a street and somebody says something, it connects with your field and you just carried it with you forever. And the honoring of who you are with all creation is being affected by it. Because you're just taking it on as your own. It's like, I don't even know where I heard that. That's not who I am. So allow yourself to know that there's a multidimensional perspective on whoever is listening and however it needs to fit. So just allow that to be okay. Thank you, Spirit. I love you so much. Thank you. So resistance allows us to hold back and be in limitation, as opposed to just expressing all that we are. Like, this is just the beginning. You're infinite, really infinite. And so I was questioning about resistance. Well, let's go into resistance. Let's hold that vibration of resistance, and let me filter out resistance in where I'm holding it in my multidimensional allness. The blessedness. Thank you. So we're just doing a clearing on the heart chakra so that you can hear the information from a heart frequency. Resistance, because most of when our blocks occur and our limitations occur is because it has been through a challenge or something that has been projected to us from lack of love and lack of self, whether it's been through those that have cared for us and loved us, and they didn't have the ability to care for and love us the way that we required and needed. And the heart chakra then creates a density, a little density, until that heart chakra is barely visible. So it needs to be cleared. Resistance. Let's get to the key of resistance, because resistance is just not acknowledging and allowing the flow of your perfection. You're always perfect. You're always perfect. You're always perfect. So where's the resistance held? Where's that block, if you will? Block is just another word for resistance because of a psyche wound. Resistance of resistance, meaning that a part of your succumbing to the notion and belief of others, of what they claim for you. So resistance of the resistance. You have resistance in your body, and you're resisting that resistance. When you're creating in the world, those of us that are empaths and crystals, we resist resistance in others, because we do not want to allow ourselves to thread vibrationally with their resistance, which creates more resistance, because our desire to not entangle with certain energies just creates more of a block. And that also creates, these are the internal vibrational stories, and perhaps we may need to say this 5 or 6 times, or go back and listen to it 5 or 6 times to feel into it and get it, because it is alchemic, and you can feel it lift and move when you get it. Physically, emotionally, mentally, etherically, when you vibrationally get it. That's transmutation, that's alchemy. When each being, if you will, or 3 or 4 in a house begin those resistant energies, because nobody in the home or the circle or the workplace are being allowed their fluid frequency flow, who they are, spirit flow, which causes resistance in energy. Block, 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 block. Energy is not fluid and flowing within the entanglement. Quantum entanglement, energy flowing. Those resistance of resistance just create greater resistance, greater resistance, greater resistance, until either an outburst, because the emotional resistance of things not being fully allowed to be flowed and connected with and communed, expressed, appreciated, valued, they become emotional outbursts. because the blocks have to be moved. They can also be manifested by creating an injury for yourself, where you just simply have to rest and you have to allow the release of those energies. You have to allow that healing to begin in whatever way it has to. When I remember before I awoken, I was constantly hurting my feet. Same feet, different places in the feet, but it was always my feet. So that I could stop and I could go within and start meditating so that I could awaken to who I was as spirit. Why I kept manifesting these experiences. Because my higher self, the conscious, the subconscious were all trying to get to me. And I was not harmonized in all that I was to understand my moving through life, the resistance. So the resistance creates manifestations, physical, mental, emotional, etheric, that will show you in every way. You got to stop and get to that resistance. What are you resisting? You're always going to be resisting your perfection. You're always going to be resisting how perfect you are and loved you are and how belonging you are with source, always. But it's held within a memory that has to be acknowledged, accepted, and a part of your story, and not suppressing it, denying it. That's resistance. Again, the law of non-resistance is allow everything to flow, no matter how outlandish it might feel to say something or to be something or to do something. Allow the outlandish to flow. Of course, keeping everyone's space and pacing at free will, because some people don't want to hear that you love them. Some people might not want to hear that you want to go and climb the Andes. So you got to be respectful of where everyone is at. However, you still have the right, if it's within your health and wellness to express who you are, you must express who you are, regardless of how other uncomfortable people may feel. Expression of who you are in the safety and the care of you and others is why we become a beautiful flowing community of great love and no resistance, through which pockets of imbalance occur and the outbreak of violence occurs. It's a multidimensional experience, and we must understand ourselves as this to create a community that is loving and flowing and non-resistant. Separation exists because of resistance. Disenfranchisement exists because of resistance. I'm resisting you. You're different. You don't make enough money that I do. You're different than me. And I was thinking about this resistance when it comes to divine feminine, because in our eons of history and experience that divine feminine has been written out of our history, literally. Divine feminine, all of our accomplishments and all of our achievements, we've been written out of human history. And why there's maybe one or two stories in comparison to the infinite number of stories that the divine masculine has. And each and every one of us has played divine masculine, divine feminine roles. We're just saying, for the intuitive divine feminine energy that everybody carries, every single person on this planet without exception carries divine male and divine feminine energies. And when they are in balance, that fluid experience occurs, and you get to create infinitely as the expression of the child. When it's repressed in any way, when the spirit is warped in any way, when it's not being suppressed in a way that is allowing of who you are, then you create that greater flow. That resistance is just soaked up in love and light, because you're allowing your whole spirit to flow. There's no resistance. Honoring your perfection as intelligence, honoring your perfection and infinite as love, honoring your infinite and perfection as light. You're not allowing that resistance to create bottlenecks in your body, if you will, which then become disease and illness. So the resistance of resistance, meaning that at some level, you're taking part and succumbing to the fear and the notions of others. So if others are walking around, because I'm an empath and I'm a conduit and I'm all of these things that actually taps into everybody else's energies, they're feeling resistance. That's obviously automatically my vibrational field. Unless I'm attuned and standing in my light and I've got my centering in, I can feel their resistance and I can send light to that resistance. And their bodies and their fields are changed in being in my presence when I'm heart-centered and I'm honoring that. But for many of my years before I was awake, I was just taking everything on, and I was resisting them. They were resisting me, and nothing was being said and spoken to. And it's blah, blah, blah. I mean, it just gets into a big mess. You're all dysfunctional. Walking around, everybody's dysfunctional. Because that resistance is just taking on the fears and the anxieties of all others, saying that, well, your notion of me, and I'm taking on that notion of me, and therefore I'm creating resistance within myself. Well, no, those energies that I had created resistance from, say the environment of when you're a baby, the beings in your environment were resistant of their own perfection. They were resistant of their own creative genius. They were resistant of who they were with source. So they were projecting those resistances onto you, and you took them on as your own. Therefore, holding a belief within yourself that my creative expression was fearful. I wasn't able to express myself. I was limited in every way. I took that limitation on. Limitation is a resistance of your perfection. This is why I'm explaining it in different ways, because those that are empaths, those that can feel resistance, those that can feel energy when they walk in a room or when they look across the street at a house, you can feel the energies of everything. And so too will everybody else as their fields and their bodies wake up, depending on what you're here to do and what your gifts are. If your gifts are to be a medical intuitive and to help people vibrationally, mentally, physically, emotionally, and etherically, you're going to have that grand field that you're responsible for managing and keeping and upkeeping, nourishing and valuing, which means that no resistance in any way. Therefore, if others, you're in that knowing, the higher knowing and the higher clarity of all that you are, and why you feel what you feel and why you experience what you experience, because your bodies and your multidimensional allness and your multidimensional perfection is telling you, wow, you got some great gifts there. Are you going to own them and honor them? Or are you going to create another manifested injury for yourself where you got to be in the hospital and laid up for 10 days until you go in and just have some quiet time to yourself? You'll manifest it in however way you can until you just be quiet and go within and get rid of that resistance by choosing to say, I let this resistance go. It's not mine. That resistance that other people feel, that's not mine, that's their resistance. And I'm sending it right back so that they can learn at some point to deal with their resistance to their own perfection. I'm not going to take it on. As empaths and crystals, we've got to learn how to honor our bodies and our gifts and then work through it. Because there are those wounds within us that are vibrating that attract those energies. Sometimes they're very deep wounds. Sometimes they come from other lineages. Divine Feminine, as I said earlier, is the resistance of the Divine Feminine. As Divine Feminine awakens, for those of us that are in Divine Feminine bodies, this time I have a Divine Feminine body. Many other lifetimes I had obviously a Divine Male body. But this timeline for me is a Divine Feminine body because it was important for me to assist in the awakening of the Divine Feminine wisdom and rewrite it back into our now moment. The Christ consciousness and Divine Feminine perspective, and all others, whether you're a male body or female body, to also bring inherent wisdoms back into the Divine Feminine healing and value of all energies to help rebalance and heal our planet, which is Divine Feminine is what's needed. The gentleness and the care and the reciprocation and socio-altruism, those are parts of the Divine Feminine energies that we are awakening within Gaia and the grids and the Christ consciousness that has been written out of history. So part of the resistance is that when Divine Feminine awakens into these higher expansive experiences of multidimensional energy of love and light and oneness and togetherness, and the healing properties that can occur, is that there are still many experiences in our reality in which the Divine Feminine is being perceived and being perceived by many in uncomfortable energies and gets labeled entitled. Again, we're going back to the notions of you're succumbing to the notions of others. This is why I'm saying it in the way that I am. And it's a multidimensional thread for those of you that want to tune into it. You can succumb to, if you do not know who you are as the strong and clear being that you are, others will say, well, you're, and this is why anybody that goes through a healing and a clearing of their male body or their female body, calling energy bodies, you will have people around you also go through the discomfort of that awakening. They absolutely will. They're going to be comfortable with it, and they're going to not be comfortable with it because you're activating their fields and their energies and their belief systems and their programs to get awakened. That's why there are those that have those discomforts to activate them into their awakening. So it's normal, it's natural, it's all a part of the process. But for the Divine Feminine specifically, those that are meant to be leaders and those that are on the forefront, those that do be the catalyst for change and the code breakers and all the things that we come to promote healing and inspire oneness and empower leadership from within. Because it's been so written out of our history and because it's been so egocentric, because it's been so dominated by the egocentric energies and behaviors and stories, and we've been so saturated with so many stories that have nothing to do with Divine Feminine, the energy of the Divine Feminine coming forward now as a leader and a creator and a healer and an author and all the beautiful things that Divine Feminine do, and the nurturers and the mothers and the empowerers of beautiful crystal children and all the things that Divine Feminine are, male and female bodies. We're speaking about the Divine Feminine energy when you are in balance. And when the Divine Feminine becomes to be this leader, there's the automatic discomfort in the collective that then starts to project the resistance. You see what we're saying? Resistance is that absence of what always has been. So because we're switching from 3 to 5D, we've never been here before. There's never been a Divine Feminine presence besides the few that we've had in our history, Mother Mary, Mother Teresa, Lady Di, those Divine Feminines that were powerful women of healers and leaders. that did very, very great work. Mary Magdalene, those divine feminine energies, goddess Isis, Lakshmi, all of these beautiful goddesses. Very few and far between that have ever been written out. And there's many, many more that just haven't come forward through the Alexandria Library that will be coming in our future as the divine feminine energy awakens and becomes prominent as a balancing scale. Because right now we're out of balance. It's highly egocentric, and why we have the issues that we do on our planet. It's not saying that it's wrong. It's saying that it's out of balance. Again, everything is about balance. When your chakra centers are out of balance, you will have an imbalanced life. It just will. If your male body and female body are not balanced, you will have an imbalanced life. And daily self-care will help you sort out, what am I feeling today? Let's see if I can hone in on my divine masculine, having that will and that intelligence and that honor for who I am. Yeah, let's do that. And let's harmonize it with just being sacred and connecting with my child today. That's a divine feminine. So it's a constant negotiation and navigation with energy of source, of understanding yourself anew that we've never been taught. And so because that resistance is there, it's a natural organic experience from going to chaos to order, from going to imbalance to balance. That resistance is always going to be at that point until the fluid of the community, of the circle, of the workplace is flowing. When your workplace is out of balance, you'll know it. Workplace of 5 or 20 or 100, you'll know it. There will be blockages in whatever that those of us that are conduits can go in and tap in and say, there's the block right there. There's the block. So let's get to the core of that. And let's start opening it up to a higher vibrational influence so that you can become that manifester that infuses that flow to continue the expression and the allowance and the acceptance. Because this is new and it will cause resistance. It will cause resistance. That's how we get to that ordered, balanced place. Because the divine feminine standing on an experience through which most often than not for thousands of years men have stood in an egocentric experience are now seeing divine feminine come forward in an intuitive, balanced and loving and caring and gentle way, and a powerful way. Women can be divine and powerful. It doesn't have to be egocentric, as the teams gave me last week, is that a lion doesn't have to roar to be heard and to have its needs met. A master and a leader is someone that absolutely honors the intention of just having peace and harmony within the crowd, within the group. That's a leader that empowers and lifts everyone to be their highest and their best and flows higher vibrational energy into every group and every circle, so that there are no blocks of the things that we're trying to step out of, those patterns of limitation. So as we step into something new and something new is offered, there's always going to be that resistance. There always will be, because that will be the challenge of limiting programs that want it to stay the same. It's just natural. So as you awaken your divine male, your divine female, and you're practicing and you're harmonizing, outside energies of the circle will say, well, hey, something's different. That doesn't match. That doesn't match. You're supposed to be like this. You're supposed to be like this. So then what they showed me is that resistance is that you're taking on the notions that saying divine feminine doesn't need to be heard. Divine feminine values and intuitions and leadership is not as valued. So I'm recognizing it because I'm an empath and I can feel it and I can sense the energies and I can sense the vibrations in those energies. So they were just allowing me to know that I'm on point. How I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, how I'm receiving those energies, if I'm tapping into the collective, those are on point. So the resistance of the resistance, meaning that you can be aware that you are attuning and you're aware of the resistance. But don't have yourself create resistance to the resistance. The resistance to the resistance, I'm going to give you an example now so you can understand what resistance of resistance is. You're taking on those energies if you're not giving yourself enough reflection time to clear out the resistance. Because oftentimes, because we're so empathic and we're such beautiful souls and our hearts are so open and we just want peace and love for everyone, we take some of those resistance on as our own. And then it becomes our own resistance to clear. Why I'm telling you this. If you have that time to process and clear, you can allow yourself to say, oh, I'm acknowledging the resistance, but then I'm going to send it back with love and saying that your resistance is not my resistance because I'm perfect and beautiful. I'm going to allow my energy to flow and I'm just getting started because I'm a beautiful co-creator and I'm just going to get started. And I don't have to have that resistance become part of my resistance. Just going to send it back and send love. And I can clear out that resistance before it even hits me. because my field is so powerful, my light is so powerful. When you're resisting the resistance, it becomes your resistance. Then you start feeling what we call defense. And you're constantly on that, that 7 of Wands type of energy. You're on that 9 of Wands type of energy, always having to defend yourself and to prove yourself and having to stand up for yourself. Because the divine feminine has never been in these energies before, because it's been so over, saturated by one type of program. Remember, it's all coding, it's all illusory. One type of program, 3-dimensional program, a matrix of 3D, it's been a program. And because it's never been done before, one can take on those resistances as oneself, but it doesn't have to be. When you feel yourself starting to feel like you have to defend who you are, you have to, make sure that your voice is heard and all of those things. Absolutely. I've been in there for years, literally years, because I'm a light worker, so passionate about serving light, but everybody else around me didn't seem to give a crap. And that's okay. Totally okay. Because it was a program I was placed within to say, hey, let's break up the light. Let's break up the light. And I always felt like I had to compromise. I always felt like I had to, move within everybody else's energy to feel okay. When it was like, no, that's why you're there. Not to become the resistance of resistance and always feel like you got to have your voice heard and you've got to, be always on defense and always got to protect your heart and all of those things. Well, no, now I can let it go. I get it now. That was a huge alchemic shift for me. I was taking on the resistance of others. And then I got to the core of it, and my teams are saying, I'm not going to resist this anymore. We're all one. Let it all go. And it was easy. It's just the allness of all that I am, body, mind, spirit, and soul. I release all resistance because I know I'm perfect. I know I have tremendous creative gifts. I'm soft and I'm gentle and I'm really powerful. I don't have to roar to be heard, and I don't have to justify anything. My spiritual path is my spiritual path. I don't have to prove it to anyone. I don't need anyone's blessing. I don't need anyone's approval. I am fully in alignment of who I am, a source. That's all that matters. And all resistance is gone. Therefore, there is no limitation. I'm not taking on anyone's limitation. I'm not taking any social imprint limitation of what women can and cannot do. And I hope to see many dogmas rewritten so that divine feminine are lifted and very much a part of new high vibrational Christ consciousness in any doctrine, whether it be Christian, whether it be Catholic. Divine women lifted to be a part of it, not imbalanced and left out and written completely out of it as if we don't matter. We're not valued. We are absolutely valued. And why it's imbalanced and why our systems are not working? Because we've left completely segments of our population out of the equation. How is that okay? And I'm stating it. I'm bringing it forward because it needs to be brought back into balance. These are many of the things about humanity that we get to infuse light and love and joy and blessings and greatness within. And be okay having it be uncomfortable for a little, because that's how we get to that fluid, beautiful state of order that is working for all people involved, not just one small segment. Our systems are socio-altruistic, which means that the all are valued and heard. The all are important. The all are treasured and lifted. All. And why all of our systems will go through that discomfort and resistance and that kind of struggle, who's right, who's wrong. It's all right. It's all right. We're trying to, through that resistance, we all got to get to that place. Okay, well, let's just release that and let go for a while, because I've got female energy inside me too. And I want my emotions heard as the divine male that is a football player and is absolutely an emotional healer. Who says that a football player that's 300 pounds cannot be an emotional healer? What stigmas do we connect with who we are as physical encapsulations? Again, we're starting at infinite. And how do we rebalance it all? How do we allow the divine feminine to be lifted up and heard? And same with the children, and same with native energies, same with all of our aged communities. And there's resistance in all pockets of it, because their resistance is based on the resistance from the collective that says, well, I'm not earning enough money, I can't even live here. Well, how is that okay? How is that okay? We're kept out of certain segments of, places because we don't earn enough money. How have we limited and segmented and separated and distanced and created so much resistance and so much separation? And you just gotta clear and say, okay, well, let's let that resistance go because I'm not taking that on. It's all infinite. It's all okay. It's all perfect. No judgment on any of it. But I'm saying it's very subtle and it needs to be released. You can take it on or not take it on. Thank you, Spirit. Too funny. So the resistance, this is where I'm getting. We're going to cut this off here because I got to go. Let me just send this text out. So resistance of the resistance, meaning that you can succumb when if you're not aware of it, you're not aware of what you're feeling and tuning into what you're going through and making that time for daily self-care. And remember, call us. I'm always here to help people. We've got classes going now. I do global webinars. Any business experience you want to kind of throw on the table and just say, how can we infuse more light? How can we infuse greater creativity? How can we infuse greater oneness in our community, in our offering as a collective? Because we want to be a part of socio-altruism so that you have long-lasting power to be the creators and to be the offers of all oneness. And this is what I'm here for. I'm here to bring in the light. I'm here to break the codes. I'm here to allow everyone to feel empowered and inspired about being non-resistant. You got resistance in your workplace, it's causing separation, it's causing lack of efficiency, and it's causing lack of creativity. So sort it out. And you can. It's easier to do than it seems, because we've never appeared to approach anything at multidimensional level, but we must now. All healing will include multidimensional aspects. It simply must, because anything that is prescribed in our outer reality now is a culmination of multidimensional psyche wounds. It's not just one thing, and it can't be seen in that way. And that's why there's so many misdiagnoses in all arenas. So the resistance of your own acceptance of who you are, again, you're perfect, you're perfect. So if you start there, I am a perfect experience of who I am in this moment, and I release all resistance. I am a perfect experience of my allness. I release all resistance. Because sometimes you're taking on resistance that you can't feel, but you're just feeling resistance of others because they're seeing you change and they don't know what to do with it. That just inspires them to go within and release their resistance. So this is why Ascension is always, it's a domino effect. You just sort you out. You be clear with you. You get your colors right. You get your chakras right. Your male, female bodies right. And all your resistance of being released allows others to look at their resistance. Why am I so resistant to change? Why am I so resistant to things being opened up? Because it goes back to, well, I might not be in control. I might be harmed or hurt. And again, it always goes back to those innate psyche fears, those wounds that we've carried. And they're easily resolved and healed. They're not comfortable and they don't feel good, no. But that's the path of ascension. And if you created those experiences for yourself, you absolutely have the power and the knowing and the honor to heal it. You do. Remember, it's always an equal experience, the infinity. If the density is created here through your choices, you have the power to heal it. And that's why it's always a great idea that if you're doing your daily self-care, you're going to choose from your heart space more and more so that you're having less and less karma to heal and fix. If you're choosing from your heart space, you're rarely going to have more karma to deal with. You're just going to have whatever's coming up from the depths of your subconscious until your subconscious becomes conscious. That's what Ascension is all about. It's bringing everything that was sub up to the reality of who you are now, so that you're now a person, you're now experience, you're now awakening, you're now expansiveness as source, can just say, okay, I can let that go. That's not who I am. Simplify, just be love. If you're choosing from an ego space to always want to keep things in systems of separation and difference, then that will continue having to clear karma. So you're just creating more karma that you have to clear. So as often as you can, choose from a place that's heart-centered in acceptance and allowance and unconditional love for all, forgiveness to all. Then you're just allowing yourself to clear what only comes up and not culminating karma after karma after karma. And that's okay too, because sometimes it's all the path that we need. It's all required, it's all perfect, it's all true. Every soul has its own unique pacing on what it needs to learn in every unique pocket of ascension cycle, because some people have an ascension cycle that's a year. Some people have an ascension cycle that's a month. Some people have an ascension cycle that's 5 years for clearing a certain item, a certain pocket of wound. For me, Divine Feminine, it's been like a 10-year cycle. If not all my life. I've recognized these things for my whole life. And so it's really a 51-year cycle. But I'm still going to be working with that Divine Feminine because our planet is so imbalanced of the Divine Feminine, right? It's where everybody's here to help bring that Divine Feminine back into balance through our own oneness. Remember, we're all one. All the pieces are needed. All the pieces are needed. because your divine feminine, your in divine feminine in insertion is different than mine, and it's required in the divine plan that Source has for all of us. That's why we can release competition and judgment altogether, because your unique piece of you and your vibration and your harmonic note, your harmonic song within the all is very needed and required. So by the resistance of your own acceptance, so are you resisting your acceptance that you're perfect? And that's the resistance. They're saying, well, something's different here. Something's different here. Why does that feel so uncomfortable? You're over here. And then if you're not in your truth and you're not standing in your center, you're going to start taking on their resistance. And then you're going to start saying, well, I don't accept myself. Maybe I might feel a little bit bad about myself and I won't express myself today. I'll feel bad about who I am. Then you start dimming to fit in. So honoring who you are and knowing that it's okay to be shiny and bright. It's okay to own who you are. It's okay to be clear. It's okay to shine. It's okay to create. It's okay to do your own thing. It's okay to be all that you are and wear your clothes in a different way. It's okay for you to express who you are. It's okay for you to be soft and gentle. It's okay for you to be powerful and divine and feminine. So allow yourself to understand the subtleties of what's going on, the vibrational experience in those circles, because it will be felt from all sides of it. Whatever side you're on and going through, it's going to be felt. And don't allow it to infiltrate your acceptance of you. Full self-acceptance. Today I accept myself. I'm perfect. I'm whole. I'm aligning with who I am. And if others are in resistance of my change, that's okay. They'll work it out. And I'll empower them. I'll inspire them. I'll send them love. And but for you to surrender into the belief of who you are. So again, that's the other side of that. Remember, it's always a scale. It's always a balance. It's always a balance. Can you surrender into the belief of who you are without giving your power away, without releasing your power to someone else that says, no, you're not worthy. You're not more special than me. You're not this, you're not that. Well, no, I know who I am. I'm pretty special. You know, it's okay that you carry whatever belief you do, but I'm pretty special and I'm going to surrender to my belief. And then you co-create within who you are so that your vibration is maintained at your vibrational level, and your sense of truth, your sense of clarity, your sense of color in who you are remains who you are. And you're just continuing to clear out your pockets of, you know, psyche energy when it's coming in divine timing for you. It's all divinely perfect. Your teams know what they're doing. They'll activate something when it needs to be activated. But, you know, feel into the subtleties. The resistance is huge because everybody's got them. So if you're creating resistance with the resistance, then that feels like you've always got to constantly walk around and be in this mode of, oh, you know, I know who I am. And, you know, been there. It's been the last 10 years of my life. And you just got to let it go and just say, I'm not going to do that anymore. Whatever. I know who I am. I'm okay with it. You know, and it's flow, constant flow. You don't have to constantly be on guard. You know, this is who I am. And it's okay. You got to get say, okay, well, what am I resisting? But it's that story you have. That's what they were showing me this morning. It's your story within. So get to that story. So then I was, okay, get to the story. Where does that story come from? Pull up that story. Come on, pull the story up for me, team. Come on, soul, pull my story up. Why am I resisting who I am? What is the story? Because I don't want to feel like this anymore. I'm so exhausted. I don't want to feel like I'm in resistance of everything and everyone, because remember, the outside reality is an illusion. It's just you. You are resisting you. Okay, so then pull the story forward. Okay, I get it. So when I do express myself, those other memories that come ping, 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 ping from all of your psyche wounds and all of the psyche lineage, from divine feminine lineage and all the lineages that you're carrying as an empath, I can say this because I'm feeling everything at a multidimensional level. It's not just one lifetime experience from when I was 7. That's one thing happened in one experience. No, it's on infinite timelines that I'm here to help clear and heal. So I'm saying it in a multidimensional way so that those that are conduits and empaths and can feel at a multidimensional level, when you get to that story, it is threaded and linked with boom, 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 boom. And why you feel it so profoundly in the way that you do, and why you hold yourself back from being your most bold, expressive, creative self. Because that resistance to you, that resistance to your perfection that these people triggered, because they're not comfortable, was perfect. You needed them to trigger you. You needed them to trigger you to go back within and say, where is that story that I keep resisting who I am? Because I'm ready to step up now and I really want to get to this. And I release all resistance. I will no longer resist myself. That story is no longer valid. And I choose in this moment to release it to Source Creator. The Christ consciousness within me will transmute it because I know who I am and I'm not going to resist the beauty that I am. And I'm going to bring order to me. body, mind, spirit, soul, all that I am within creation, I call in harmony. I call in my sense of order. I will no longer be in resistance of who I am. And I can feel into the subtleties so that I don't allow others' resistance to become part of my resistance anymore. And I just send it right back in a bubble of love, and I begin clearing that resistance for them. Because I know who I am. I'm not resisting myself anymore. I'm beautiful, and I'm outlandish at times, and I'm fanciful, and I can dream, and I have 1,005,000 jillion, billion, gazillion, bazillion, jillion ideas that I can bring great light to this planet. And I'm okay with every part of it and every aspect of it and every step of it and every breath of it, because I know I'm a source. And I bring order to my sense of self. I bring order to my soul. I bring order to all lifetimes. I bring order to all timelines. I bring order to all threads. And right now in this moment, dear ones, make no mistake about it. Usia naya mama katke alana pai atake she atake naya la kataka naya from here to eternity, resistance transmuted. Because we all need one another. We need those reflections from one another, the sacred geometry of all that we are. We are the sacred geometry. Sacred geometry. Each and every one of us showing us reflections, reflections, reflections. Our circles show us and reflect to us. Where is that story that I have resisting within me? Because I've created this reflection. I created it. It's an illusion. I'm showing myself through that reflection that there is a story within me of resistance. I'm going to call it forward because I can. I'm going to call it forward because I'm infinite. I'm going to call it forward because I'm beautiful. I'm going to call it forward because I am fanciful, and I can choose to change the story and rewrite anew. And I will, I will, I will, I will. We ananaka lanake nakate naya naya ke etesi ama e kate. Ya no ya ya creator ya no ya ba anya ke anya ya. I see I might get like the case. I see cases with my high and la. We love you, children of light. You are all perfect. You are all the perfect versions of love and light. Release resistance to your perfection, dear ones. Thank you so much. Thank you, Source Creator and the Elohim, all of the angels and the beings that are with us, calling in higher codes from creation to create flow and fluidity and honoring our perfection, how we honor who we are as perfect. And everyone that we feel that we call trigger us, we've called it in from a soul level to say, how can I reflect myself in love and perfect? And release the resistance of how I'm able to change, create order for myself. And I knowing that I'm creating my reality and I can choose to create beauty and love and oneness and unity. And in that we're all perfect, we're all perfect, we're all perfect. We're never not perfect, we're all perfect in the holiness of the creator of all that is, creator, mother, father. Through our hearts we are one. Through our hearts we are one, and being so grateful to be a conduit and vessel of the instrument of the Holy Christ. Thank you, Holy Mother, Father, and the Christ consciousness of all that is, through the Lord Melchizedek and Lord programs, through the higher light programs of the higher Christ. Thank you, Holy Mother, Father. Thank you, Holy Mother, Father, in the higher frequencies of the holy light, as above, so below, and as within, so without. From all systems, from all planets, we are one. Thank you, Gaia. Graciousness of Gaia, thank you. Thank you, dear little ones. So happy, so happy, so happy. Yay! So we hope that you've enjoyed this segment of Ascension offerings. Thank you, Holy Creators. Thank you. In our offering of resistance and what that really means and how we actually co-create the resistance for others to reflect to us. They're always about the stories that we have within ourselves in our resistance to our own perfection. So know that you are a perfect being of light, of beauty, and of divine sacredness. So start there. I'm perfect, and I'm going to align with my own perfection today. I'm going to release all resistance to my perfection today. I'm going to release all resistance about who I am, and I'm going to begin anew, and I get to rewrite my own story. I'm perfect, I'm perfect, I'm perfect, and there is no resistance. I am the perfect flow of love. I'm the perfect flow of light, and I shine like the sun, and it's okay. Thank you, dear lighted ones. We love you so much. Namaste. Anybody that would like to donate, the links are below. And don't forget our classes on Saturday. We love you. I rainbow you. Bye.